Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's segment of readings. Um, this is on James 13 Wicca on YouTube, in case you're not seeing it there. For the main tarot, I'm going to use Wild Reflections Tarot deck by Y-Spell. And there is a website on the back here. I believe it's there, yspell.com. It's in the center over here. There we go. If you're interested. That's what we have for the tarot deck. The oracle cards I'm going to use are Sacred... Okay, can't hold it. Sacred Traveler Oracle cards. It's hard to read it backwards. By Denise Linn. Where's the websites for Denise? I think it's on the back of the book. So it's at the end of her paragraph where you see her face, that yellowish box. It's at the bottom of it. DeniseLinn.com if you want to check her out. And I also use dice. I use a 22-sided dice for the major arcana, substituting 22 for 0 for the Fool. 14-sided dice for the minor arcana, and a 4-sided dice to choose the element. It's from the Dice Shop. The website there is mathartfun.com. I don't know if it's showing up. I don't know if you can see mathart.com. Hopefully you can. mathartfun.com. Alright, that being said, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. That being said, let's get into your reading. Hello, Cancer. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Cancer? Get them all down before we get too. So, okay. Okay. How is like this going on here? Okay. So, there's a good social connection with this subject. So, for example, if it's coworkers, family members, friends, maybe people that are part of a certain group, I keep thinking like there's people maybe you work with, but maybe there's this little collection of people that you're connected with every now and then. That's not your normal group. There's a good social connection in the sense of like your people listen. They don't act on what you say right away, but you can tell that they've heard you, and they'll bring up conversations later kind of like, oh, Cancer, I remember when you said this and I've been thinking about that. I feel like that's a big defining characteristic of this. When they come back to you like, oh, I remember when you said blah, 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 and I've been thinking about it. Something about that. People have been thinking about what you've been saying. And I feel like I like this. I want to be heard. That's the whole point of me saying what I say. I feel like I want to be heard. Everything is good at this point. I feel like things are going quite well for this whole situation. I just feel like if I'm going to jump ahead, I feel like you're going to end up with more control than you actually want. So I feel like we need to kind of keep that in check as we keep moving forward, because how much control do you actually want of this situation? Because as people are listening to you, I feel like people are stepping out of the way to allow you to do what you want. This might be one of the reasons you end up with more control than you were originally looking for. Because people are like listening, realizing what you want, and they're moving you into a position for you to do what you want. And I get the 7 of Swords energy, which is right here, this one. They're not completely disappearing, but they're taking a back seat. They're like, okay, you have ideas, Cancer, and I like your ideas. I think they're good. You drive. I'll just sit here in the back. I feel like they're being very accommodating. This is not a bad thing. I feel like they're just kind of giving you a heads up, like be careful thinking it's a temporary thing because it might end up more permanent than temporary. What is that? 10 of Wands. It's not the easiest, whatever it is you're leading forward, but you're good at it and it is working. So it's not an easy thing, but I've heard this said a lot throughout my life. Anything really worth it is typically not easy. The more benefit you want from a situation, the more you pretty much have to put that effort in. Doesn't mean it has to be like weighing the whole world on your shoulders, but it takes a bit of effort to make something good really happen. And you're making that happen. Comes in with a lot of passion. I keep getting like, I feel like I'm doing triple time. Like I feel like I'm doing three people's work in one day. Like I feel like I'm doing mine and two other people's work all in one day. I would also be careful to not make this a habit. If it happens once in a while, I feel like we all hit those moments where once in a while we're doing 3 times the load that we normally should. As long as it doesn't become a habit, I feel like you'll be okay, but be aware of it. Especially if when you're kind of taking the lead, people are expecting you to always have this unbelievable superhero amount of energy. Like, we want to be careful with that. Because I feel like people are getting used to you taking the lead, and some people, I do feel, are trying to step away from the situation. They're watching, they're waiting, but they're trying to like slowly just keep backing off and backing off and backing off. I'm not really how do you feel about that when that's happening? I feel like initially it's good, but as time passes, I feel like maybe I don't like it. In the beginning, it's kind of like if this is what it takes for things to go differently, because what you're making happen is kind of like, I feel like this is best for the situation overall. So it's kind of like, well, if this is what needs to happen for things to shift and go where I feel like it should be versus where it has been, all right, I guess this is how we're going to have to do it. So you seem to be like, well, I guess is this what it takes for right now? This energy over to the side is kind of feeling like they don't really need to be there. I don't know what to say about that. That's a weird energy. It feels very strange. They just feel like it doesn't really matter. So whatever the subject is, maybe at one point they felt more passionate about it, but it's like everything's gone gray for them. It's like having a beautiful, vibrant photo with all the colors, and then maybe that's how it used to be for them, but now it's just this very old, weathered, gray photo to them. It's kind of like whatever passion brought them to it, they don't seem to have it anymore, which is whatever that is for them. I mean, this reading is centered for you, not other people, but this also makes it easier for you to step forward. I feel like as I keep going forward, things really start to go really, really good. Really, really, really good. And I'm getting the Two of Cups come in like, okay, not only am I happy with what it is, it's going 10 times better than I thought it would. Again, I think we want to be putting a little highlight here. If you're doing 3 times the effort, be aware of it. Don't let it be a habit. Don't let other people not only expect that, but don't let them demand it either. Kind of like give them a heads up, like, while I'm getting this up to speed, I'm doing extra, but this is not forever. This is not going to be how I live my life from here going forward. Like, you want to protect yourself from burnout, you know what I mean? There's a trick to this. A trick? Okay. This moment is gonna feel good, and you should like it. And they're saying, yes, definitely like it, but be careful feeling like this is things going where you want them to be, and that's like, okay, it's kind of like, okay, we won the race. Be careful of having that, oh, we won the race feeling. Is it a good moment? Yes. Should you enjoy it? Definitely. But there's this weird thing where it's like, okay, we won the race feeling, like, okay, it's over. It's not. And you want to keep it going. You want to make this work out continually in your favor. You want it to stay in your favor. So be careful of that. It's ironic, but they're saying be careful of that. Realize that you're succeeding and that you won this leg of the race. This leg of the race you have won, and you should celebrate it. Yes, enjoy it. Definitely enjoy it. But there's more coming in. what does that say? Stepping into your power. Realizing this is just the first leg of the race and not the total race will help you get ready for the next level. More information is trying to come your way. If you realize this is just the first leg of it, you will grab onto that a lot easier. If you're feeling like, oh, we won the race, we're good, the information will be there, but you might feel like maybe I don't need it as much, or I don't need it right now. You might kind of feel that way. As soon as that information comes your way, you want to kind of collect it and, categorize it and put it where it needs to go so it's ready for you when you need it. So it's kind of like there's a difference. That slight difference makes a big difference. Okay, I'm gonna let it go, because again, the next leg of the journey comes in, and I feel like I don't know if you're not expecting it, because if you were looking at the situation like, oh, we won the race, we're done, you're not expecting the next leg of the race to show up. But if you're kind of like, oh, I kind of knew that was going to come, I kind of knew there was going to be another leg of the race coming in, you still might need a minute to kind of prepare yourself and kind of like, all right, what do I need for this next leg of the race? It's kind of like, it's not like you need to race right now, but it's kind of like, okay, we won this leg of the race. Part 2 is going to be in a couple weeks. It's going to be like, oh, okay, so I got to keep going with what I'm doing, and now I have to plan and decide what I want from that. I do feel like I don't know, I feel like this is an either or. Either it's going to kind of stun you for a second, you're going to be like, all right, I got to kind of like regroup and decide what I want. Or if you completely, for some reason, weren't expecting that you were going to have to lead it on the second part of the race, that might be it too. I feel like that's what I was saying before, and I just wasn't realizing it. Because somebody's stepping away, and you're like, I'm just going to lead this leg of the race, and then when this leg of the race is done, I'm going to hand it back to the other person. It's not going to kind of happen that way. It's like you're going to be leading the races from now on. Every time a leg of the race shows up, it's going to be you putting it forward. If you weren't expecting it, that may be a very unhappy moment for you. If you were kind of like, oh, that might happen, I'm kind of prepared for it, I don't know if I really want it, it'll make you kind of like go, oh, okay, let me think about this for a second. All right, well, let me get it together and we'll do it. It's like these perceptions, these point of perceptions could make a big difference. It can make the difference between pass and fail. It really could, because it could make it a lot easier for you to be like, okay, yeah, I kind of thought that was going to happen. It doesn't have to mean you like it, but realizing it's there makes a difference. Like, I'm not saying you should be skipping all over the place, like, oh, yay, I'm getting something I didn't want. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, realizing, keeping that in perspective, like, all right, I got it now, and I might end up keeping it. I'm not expecting to. That's not why I took this, but being aware of it empowers you. Once you do that, did I show this? I don't know, because it's clearly you can overcome this. When you lock into it, you can overcome this. This can be something that you can really not only succeed with, but I feel like once it's like, oh, all right, this is mine now. It was just not just this leg of the race, every race from here on out. Once I see it that way, I feel like, all right, well, if that's how it's going to be, there's certain things I want from this. If I'm going to do that, then this is going to have to be the trade-off. I'll do that, but you're going to do this for me. Because I feel like once I accept that and I'm like, all right, I'll do this, but this is what it's going to take for you. If you want me to do this, this is what you're going to need to give me for that to happen. I feel like it puts you in that power position pretty quickly once you've accepted it. If you're kind of fighting it like, I don't want it, I don't feel like the benefits come in maybe at all, just to be fair. I don't know why. It reminds me of like moving ahead at work and people like giving me the lead on something, and like it's just temporary, so I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm not getting a pay raise for this, but since it's just temporary, at least to get a flavor of it, see if I want to keep it. But then they're like, no, you need to keep this, you need to do this from now on. And it's kind of like, well, I'm only going to do this from now on if you give me the title and the pay that goes with it. So if you're not going to give me the title and the pay that goes with it, I can't help you. I can't help you. This isn't not the charity. I'm not here the charity for this company. I'm not here to do this so you can make money and I don't. You're going to have to share. It's just that difference of opinion, because if you keep pushing it like, no, I don't really want it, no, I don't really want it, that whole upgrade with pay, upgrade with title never seems to happen, because you're like, I don't really want it. So they don't really get into that part of it. They don't get into that barter trade situation. Whatever this is, if you accept it, a lot more comes. I got all this coming in at once. Okay, so all this kind of comes at once, but I'm going to show you this part first. New horizons, is that what it says? Faraway places. Like, more is going to come from this. It's kind of like once I've like, all right, I'm leading these races from now on, every leg of the race. All right, well, this, we're going to need to do this. And I'm going to appoint this person to help me with that. And these, like, maybe we're using this certain brand of shoe, and they're like, well, that's our sponsor. Well, we need to get another sponsor. And we're going to get this other sponsor, and we're going to get better shoes, and blah, 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 blah. And it's kind of like you're going to have a lot more things that you get to change, a lot of things that you didn't really even consider having the control over, but you're going to have the ability to kind of look at this situation and go, I didn't like these other things for the longest time. I just accepted it was part of the situation. It's starting to race. I keep using a race analogy, and the energy is starting to race, so I'm trying to bring it down a little bit. There's a lot of other things here that I have just accepted because I felt like I had to, but now that I'm in control of all the races, we're changing a lot more here, because if I'm going to lead it, might as well be the way I want to as well. So we're going to change a lot of other things here. Change that you're in control of, not forced change on you. Change like, I don't like that anyway, I just thought I was stuck with it, but now I'm in control, so we're going to be slowly but surely changing a bunch of things here. Other people will follow you on this. People want you to be in control of this, and I feel like they're going to look at this like, well, if that's the balance, if this is how we get cancer to stay in control, then that's what we're doing. They don't seem to be fighting you on that. Not that you want them to, but why aren't they fighting you? I almost feel like they want this whole new phase to come in, and they're looking for the direction. They want this new phase to come in, and they're looking for the direction. It makes it really easy on you. So that's interesting. I almost feel like there's going to be a lot of people going, well, that seems rare that that's easy for me, but if it is, I guess it is. I just feel like some people going, is it though? Will it really be though? This time it feels like it will be. Again, they want the change, and they're looking for direction, so I feel like that's why. Are we good? All right. I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.